It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio today. Game and Fish's spokesperson, Shelley Shepard. Welcome back to studio.
I know.
It's been a little while.
It's been a while. It's so nice to be back.
But it is great to have you. And
Thank
we've
you.
got a punch list of stuff. Whenever you're here, it's a punch list of stuff, so pay attention because we're going to be going through this. We want to start off with website, azgfd.gov.
Yes.
It does have a new look. I looked at it this morning. And I've got to tell you, and I was telling Shelley before we started the show, that the website it just seems more organized to me. And it's
We've been working on
less
it.
stuff all over the page. Because I remember when I used to go to your website, it was like, okay, news.
Where do I find it?
Yeah, this, licenses. Now it's really nice. It's got 3 tabs across the top for the boats, licenses, and something else.
There's
up there
hunting,
too.
fishing, boating, wildlife, and you can click on those different categories and really, hopefully, find what you're looking for fairly easily. I hope.
The news stories you guys send us that we put on the air are also listed on that front page as well, so people can go there.
Easy to find, and the most recent stuff going on, whether it's a news story or even an event, that's all on that kind of that home page. And you mentioned new look. We do have a new logo.
Right.
We just kind of put that out this month, and folks are responding to it, and some negative, and hopefully more positive than negative. I would have to describe it as a lot simpler, a little bit cleaner. The old logo, we had the Gamble quail, but we had a saguaro flower in the background, and a lot of people were like, what is that? And some of the quail actually covered Arizona Game and Fish, and so we just cleaned it up a little bit, and I don't know, we'll see.
Get rid of that lousy flower and make the quail a little smaller.
Poor saguaro flower gone. But anyway, new look.
Okay.
And tied with the website, and we refer to it as the portal, is now people can go in and set up their own personal profile. You just got to go in, enter a bunch of stuff, and then you're going to get any kind of updates that you're interested in. Whether it's hunting or fishing, you can set up your personal profile. The neat thing about it, too, you can buy hunting license, fishing licenses. You can apply for the big game tags online. And then if you get drawn, if you have a portal account, you will learn if you've been drawn a little quicker than the other folks out there.
Does it send a message to your phone or anything?
It sends it to that profile.
Okay.
And we've kind of changed up a little bit, and it looks a little different. If anybody hasn't done it in a while or looked at their profile in a while, it does look a little bit different. But hopefully, again, a little bit more user-friendly website. At least we hope. So
it looked like
go
it
visit.
Was. It looked like it looked like it was.
I'm glad to hear that.
So that's a good thing. And then now, once I set up my portal, my information's in there, and it'll retain that information.
It's going to
retain. Like every year, I got to renew that as well.
Yeah, if you want to go in and do boats, or you want to do a license, because our licenses now run date of purchase for a year, not a calendar year anymore, and that's been around for a little while.
That is great, too,
but it'll give you a lot of great updates, and like I said, you can personalize it a little bit. And I tell you what, the big popular thing about it is people find out if they've been drawn quicker than trying to go on the phone, trying to go just through the regular portal.
Sure.
If you've got your profile, you'll find out right away. And I know people are going to be itching to find out if they get drawn for elk or antelope, because that's going on right now. The draw's still going on.
Right. But the deadline is today, January 30th.
Today, and I hope this didn't create a lot of confusion for people, but yes, today is the deadline for paper applications.
Okay.
This has traditionally been the second Tuesday. If the 13th of February is the second Tuesday, it's usually February, June, October. We've now moved up the paper application deadline.
Wow.
So we wanted to see if we can get all those paper applications in and start the process for those, because they have to be manually by a person.
Okay.
All the data entered.
More and more every year. Okay.
Right. And so then when we have the online deadline, which is February 13th, hopefully that draw process is going to go a little quicker, which means people should find out if they got drawn a lot faster. So new deadline. I know some people may be confused about it, but they do have until midnight tonight to get those paper applications in. Those have to be dropped off at one of our offices, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, you're easy to find there on Lake Mary Road.
We're there, Flagstaff, and then, of course, our headquarters down in Phoenix.
Easy can be. So January 30th, which is, of course, today when we're doing the show, is the deadline for the paper applications at midnight. All right, let's move on. Website looks great. Poaching.
Yes.
We have done a lot of poaching stories over the last couple of months. I'd say about Thanksgiving was when they kicked in. It seemed like right through the holiday season we were talking about this, that, and then boom. We got these fawns that are being killed. We've got does being killed.
Yep.
Animals just being found dead.
Yes. Yes, lots of different cases have been popping up, and you're right. We covered several out of the Flagstaff area, and we've had a handful statewide. And 2017 wasn't a bad year as far as our Operation Game Thief program goes. We ended up issuing 76 citations last year, and I think we had over 1,000 calls to the hotline. And this may surprise folks as far as some of the calls and the citations that were issued. Illegal take of big game, fishing violations, and the unlawful killing of raptors, which I'm not sure if people really even thought about that, because I think when they hear poaching, they think big game cases.
Right. They
And
think
sadly,
elk, bear,
deer,
whatever.
antelope,
Usually deer and
elk are kind of, and every now and then we hear some pronghorn antelope cases, but the unlawful killing of raptors is up there on the list. So 76 citations, that totaled out to be about, I think it was, I had it highlighted. Of course, now I have to throw my glasses on. I can't. $74,500 in civil fines.
Okay.
So this is, if somebody was issued a citation, they went through the court process, and they ended up paying a fine. The next step to that is, if found guilty, then that individual may go in front of our commission and find out if they're going to lose their hunting and fishing privileges, and we call that the revocation process. We had a handful of folks, 51 individuals lost hunting and fishing privileges or revoked, and we had one that was a lifetime revocation. And the thing about revocations is that multiple states are in the violator compact. So if somebody loses their hunting privileges in Arizona, they lose them in all of the states that are in the violator compact. And right now, I think there's like 3 states not in that compact. So I don't want to pick on you, but if you lost your privileges,
if I lost my license in Arizona,
your hunting privileges
for life.
Potentially, yeah. Like
or
in this
just
one
for
case.
a year. Let's say I lost for a year.
1 to 5 years potentially.
Okay,
yeah.
but that'll all across the country.
It carries over in any of the states that are in the compact. Like I said,
don't even realize that.
Yeah. So if you are interested, some people like to hunt in Wyoming or Colorado, Montana.
Sure.
You lost your privileges in those states as well, and they recognize that.
Okay,
so
that's interesting.
You know, with the OGT program and with technology and of course cell phones now for so long, is people are out there, they are witnessing things, they're calling in.
Let me ask you that right there.
Yeah,
okay, let's move on before we have to take our first break.
Sure.
We've got 2 minutes before we have to do that, so
Okay.
we've got time. What kind of things am I looking for? Because you guys are always saying, okay, did you see anything suspicious? And the thing about some of these game and fish cases, too, is that the investigation's going on. You're doing the necropsy and stuff like that. Impressed with that word?
That was very good.
I threw it right out there.
I like
and you get that done, but then we find out like a week or 2 later that, okay, this poaching case took place back on this date. Do you remember seeing anything? It's kind of tough to ask people to remember back 2-3 weeks. I was camping in that area, but do I remember seeing anything?
Yep.
So what are the things we should be looking for and paying attention to when we're out there to help you guys out?
When anybody's out and about, and it doesn't matter what activity you're doing, if you can get a good description of the area, of course the animals or whatever's involved, description of the people, vehicle descriptions, if you can get a license plate, time of day, what was the weather like, did you hear shots, how many, did you see a certain individual take a shot with archery equipment or firearms or whatnot. The biggest thing that we tell folks is please do not make contact with these individuals. We don't want anybody getting any kind of confrontation with those folks. But all of those details really does help us out a lot. And the
obviously you're getting some of that.
We're getting some of that.
Because there's been a couple of cases now where you've actually had, okay, we're looking for this maroon pickup. It had this kind of a guy in it and this kind of guy, this is the description, so on and so forth. So when we're out and about, we just need to pay attention and focus and see that sort of. We got to take a break.
Okay.
Game and Fish spokesperson Shelley Shepard in studio today. Their website is azgfd.gov. Stick around, Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
she doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new.
Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened?
Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah, I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.com.
Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weeknd. Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking game and fish with Shelley Shepard from the Game and Fish Department. azgfd.gov is the website. We were talking about poaching before the break, and when we came back, I was going to tell you that the worst part of the story, and sometimes I guess I understand because we've discussed this in the past too, that sometimes people are just hungry. They go out there, they harvest an animal, and they take the animal.
Right.
Okay, we know something happened, but most of the animal's been taken. But most of the cases we're talking about here,
a lot of times,
it's just the animal's just been shot, and it's like, oh, wow, that's not big enough for me, or I didn't want that one, or that was supposed to have antlers, and it doesn't, and they just leave it there.
Right. A lot of times. We've talked about so many cases over the years.
Yeah.
And is it a case where they're out there, these poachers are just out joyriding, running spotlights at night, shoot whatever they get,
if
come
you move,
across?
You're dead.
Yeah. Sometimes we see just the antlers removed, and sometimes we'll just see some of the choice meat taken, a hindquarter or maybe the back straps. And it's all waste.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. And that's the thing, too, is that poachers are not hunters. Hunters, for the most part, are ethical people doing the right thing. Every now and then a mistake happens.
Sure.
But poachers just no regard for the laws and regulations in place, and it's sad, and it continues. I've been with Game and Fish. This is my 26th year. We've been talking about poaching my entire career.
Every year I've known you, we talk about numerous poaching cases,
we
so
do.
it's out there.
Folks, keep your eyes and ears open when you're out there.
Yeah. Real quick, elk.
Yes.
Are headed to West Virginia.
They're
we don't know
east.
about that. They're going to go mix in with, I think, some Kansas or Kentucky elk as well.
Yes.
Kentucky?
They did get elk from Kentucky prior to our project.
Right.
That was last week,
We have 60 going.
Yes.
Is it 60? 60 elk from east of Flagstaff.
Yep.
So out there in Lake Mary area. 50 cows and 10 bull?
Hopefully, yep, that's the plan. We captured 60 animals last week. We've got them in the holding pens at the Raymond Wildlife Area right now. This took place right around kind of northern 5B for folks that know some of our hunting areas. If they can picture Anderson Mesa and then the Raymond Wildlife Area. And the plan is to assist West Virginia in repopulating their elk herds. They did receive some animals from Kentucky, I think sometime last year, 16 maybe?
16, yeah.
Yeah, and the reason that we were identified, or Arizona was identified, is because we have been disease-free since we've been testing for chronic wasting disease since, 1996, 97, 98, somewhere in that time frame. Yeah. And that was one of the reasons they keyed in on us. They were going to pursue Kentucky again, but Kentucky is currently working on a project to help Wisconsin repopulate their elk as well in that state. So
our elk are from Colorado. Did Colorado help us with our elk population?
Well, actually, we had a native species of elk here, and that's Merriam's, and a lot of people kind of know the history behind Merriam's. Well, back in 1913, Merriam's went extinct, and back in 1913, we received elk actually from Yellowstone.
Yellowstone?
Yep.
Okay.
I think about 83 animals. We did follow up with 2 more translocations, about 1918 or so, and then in 1926, 27. And those those are the animals that came to Arizona and actually is what we have now as a current population
They
in our
sure
state.
are something to see out there.
Well,
you know,
I
I
think
can
they're
see
pretty
them
cool.
on a regular basis because
Yeah.
they're right along the road. But I tell you, I see them, and
Yep.
I think every time I see one, I'm like, "You are so big. You are such a big animal. You don't think about how big they
No,
are until
they are.
you're driving by one really slow, and it's
Yeah.
like, get off the road."
Please
but
move.
you look at how big they are, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing what the size of the animal that is.
Well, in the capture itself, just the process that it takes, and watching an elk come down from under a helicopter and get placed into a truck bed for the processing, it was a pretty amazing capture. So much help, so much volunteer time. West Virginia staff, Game and Fish staff, we had volunteers out there. Arizona Elk Society, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, a great cooperative effort, and it's sort of that case of we hope we can give back. We received elk, and now we're going to help another state to reestablish a population.
So
It's
I
good
think,
stuff.
if I remember, they're quarantined for about 33 days, and then off to West Virginia they go, and they'll be released, and hopefully all goes well.
They'll be held for about 90 more days because of TB testing and just the requirements by state vets. And yeah, then they'll be released in an area in West Virginia. I met their West Virginia director, and they're so pleased. And really, their main focus is going to be, of course, establishing those animals, making sure they're healthy, watchable wildlife opportunity. And hunting is actually going to come down later on. They need to reestablish
I would
that
imagine
population.
quite a few years
yeah,
down the
yep,
road
they've
here.
got some years to go, but
awesome.
Great effort. Yeah, it was cool.
Bald eagles. The bald eagles are doing well. We talked to Noelle Fletcher, I want to say a couple weeks back, and I know she goes out. She's with Prescott now. She goes out with Game and Fish, and you guys did your recent
We do a winter
eagle count.
Yep, we do eagle counts.
Yeah.
Numbers are looking good.
And she was excited because over at Goldwater Lake there was a new pair actually doing the dance in the sky.
Oh, good.
And they were going to
Okay.
go out with Game and Fish folks to kind of try to figure out, okay, where's the nest? Where's the nest at?
Right.
And then the Lynx Lake pair are back as well.
Yep.
But we've got a booming bald eagle population that likes to call Arizona home.
We're doing well, and that's the thing is we do have birds that are here, 67 breeding pairs in Arizona, and it's kind of interesting that I'm here with you today because we are kind of in the middle of the bald eagle migration as well.
Okay.
And so during wintertime, we may see up to 200 bald eagles visiting Arizona.
Isn't that great? That's
and
amazing.
they're really, literally, they're going south for winter.
Uh-huh.
And they'll come down here, hang out, and then about March or so, they'll all start moving back up north, and they go all the way into Canada. But we have our 67 pairs here. They're doing well. Our folks have been out checking on potential nest sites.
I think the public's
breeding.
pretty respectful of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to mess with the majestic bald eagle?
Right. Nobody
You
wants to
know?
get busted for that, right? Messing with that.
Take the space you need. Do what you got to do. But yeah, we don't want to lose him.
And you know
her.
what? That's another thing. I
yeah.
guess I'm going to age myself again. Is
Do it.
when we first started doing this, it was not really received well by the public. Oh, you're going to close off my favorite recreation
changed,
area.
though, huh?
But that mindset has definitely
Yeah.
changed. People understand. We've got our volunteer nest watchers at some of those closures where those nests, the active nests are.
Well, you see the
giving
results of
information.
something, and
Yeah.
I think it's a big mind changer for a lot of folks. It's like, wow, okay, this actually worked. Because I remember when they were closing Peregrine Falcon closures on Granite and Thumb Butte, it was very frowned upon because they're such popular climbing rocks.
Yes.
But now over the years, people have realized, wow, okay, this is working.
Yeah,
You know, they're getting more.
Why
more
not help
populated.
the wildlife if you can? And the other thing tied in with the eagles, talking about sort of people getting into some of these areas, just slight disturbance could really fail that nest. Either they won't even continue breeding, or even if let's say they've laid eggs and there's a disturbance, that may kick the birds off the nest and no more incubation, and then that nest will fail, is what we call that.
They get irritated more than we do sometimes and faster. We'll take another break. Game and Fish's Shelley Shepard in studio today. Their website is azgfd.gov. Stick around, Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
Mateo.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber. You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.com.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Countywide. Just a few minutes left in the program. Shelley wants to make sure we mention that if you missed the Bald Eagle workshop that was held in the Flagstaff Lake Mary District office, there is another Bald Eagle workshop coming up in Pine Top on February 10th.
Yep.
So if we go to the Game and Fish portal, or otherwise known as
website,
you can find out more information about the Bald Eagle workshop.
Yep.
Again, that's coming up on February 10th in Pine Top.
Yep.
All right, so I wanted to hit this for sure because we see this every year. We get a winter like we have right now where we don't have winter. It's just not winter. It's like this prolonged fall/spring thing happening.
Yeah, with a snowstorm every now and then, right? Yeah, little snow
twice.
thrown in.
We've had 2 storms so far.
Yeah.
This always leads to drought conditions. We've talked about it. National Weather Service says it's the second driest winter on history right now for Flagstaff.
Yep.
So when I see years like this come down doing this as long as I've done it, pretty soon all of a sudden there's a bear spotted in this neighborhood. There's a mountain lion spotted on this golf course. Wildlife start to come out of the forest and start going into urban settings looking for the necessities of their life, food and water.
Yeah.
So is that something we can probably see this year or not?
I think it's a good possibility that we are going to see wildlife movements. Now, typically, bears, for example, they may go in a form of hibernation in Arizona, but with conditions the way they've been, there's a good chance that they're even moving around and
Who needs to sleep right now?
Yeah, they're not. They may not be settled in, and we have seen bears that are not super healthy in fall will come out of their dens occasionally during winter to feed a little bit, and that's unusual. But these unusual warm temperatures, we may see animals coming into residential areas. I think the thing that I would caution folks, and I know that people care about wildlife, is really, please do not place food out. And somebody may say, oh, what about water? And I would even discourage water sources because you may create more of a problem, even though you think you're helping the animals out.
Sure.
So what can folks do? Kind of keep an eye on things, be aware if wildlife are starting to come in the areas. But yeah, I think the overall answer to your question is yes, we may see some unusual situations.
We have a couple instances here and there every year where that just happens because an animal loses its way and all of a sudden he's in a neighborhood because we've encroached so much.
Right.
But there's the bird feeder that drops seeds in the ground, that brings in the mice, that brings in the snakes, that brings in the road runner or whatever, and then pretty soon you got a mountain lion in there, you got a bear in there, so it's just this little ecosystem you're creating. It can be fun, it can be really neat to be able to watch that wildlife, but at the same time, we don't want them in the neighborhoods.
Exactly, and we would say use caution and be aware of what you're putting out and all those attractants, and bird seed is great. Javelina love the bird seed, and they may start coming in and causing issues. So just kind of keep us posted if something pops up, notify us. And, I think the thing is that we do hope we see more precipitation. And the other thing, too, to throw in is our officers have been out statewide trying to distribute water to those water catchments, especially some of our critical waters for wildlife, some bighorn sheep areas, and then up north on the Kaibab and the Arizona Strip, our guys have been putting water out there, and we're just trying to keep up with that right now. And yeah, hope we get some precip and
bring that dog food and water in the evening. That's it. We're out of time.
All right, gosh, once again,
told you.
Goes by in a flash.
It's going to be a punch list. Shelley Shepherd's here. All right. Website again is azgfd.gov. That's today's countywide. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.